So I am reading Dune for the first time, and I want to talk about the death of the Duke and the betrayal of Yueh. Because there are two things in this that I find so fascinating, and they both kind of revolve around each other with Yueh's betrayal. First off, the movie portrayal is somewhat faithful to the book. It's not exactly, but it's word for word in some instances. But the biggest difference is just the madness of Yueh. The Doctor just seems hell-bent on getting his revenge against the Baron, and everything that he says is just tinged and sometimes drenched with his madness. The Duke, even though he's paralyzed, recognizes this immediately. The book says, Leto stared up at Yueh, seeing madness in the man's eyes, the perspiration along brow and chin. And Yueh is at the same time proud of his ingenuity at creating this kind of fake tooth that the Duke can bite down on to kill the Baron with a breath, and he's kind of filled with madness at the idea of it, and at the idea of enacting revenge. He just keeps mentioning the tooth like he's going crazy, like it's the only thing that he has left in his whole life, besides hopefully knowing if Wana, his wife, is still alive or dead. But the book says this, and you will be drugged and tied. But attack can take strange forms, and you will remember the tooth. The tooth, Duke, Leto Atreides. You will remember the tooth. The old Doctor leaned closer and closer, until his face and drooping mustache dominated Leto's narrow vision. The tooth, Yueh muttered. He cannot stop talking about this tooth. The Duke actually says that he's going to refuse to do this, but then Yueh counters and says that he must do it in exchange for keeping Paul and Jessica alive. So Yueh's madness is the first thing that really struck me in this chapter. It is crazy. But the second thing is something that's driving me even crazier and making me mad. It's the idea of them not even considering that Yueh was the betrayer in the first place. They do not learn from their own holy texts, because in the first chapter, or one of the first chapters of Dune, when Paul is being tested by the Reverend Mother, her and Paul talk about the idea of machines. And Paul quotes a line from a holy text saying, "Thou shalt not make a machine in the likeness of a human's mind, or a man's mind." Yet that is exactly how they are treating imperial conditioning. Like it cannot be broken. They are not making machines as computers anymore, but they're having the belief that that they're turning humans into computers and machines, and they kind of function like those things without breaking their programming. This is so dumb. Even Yueh, the whole conversation with the Duke, the first thing that he says is, "I'm sorry, my dear Duke, but there are things which will make greater demands than this." He touched the diamond tattoo on his forehead. I find it very strange myself. An override on my piratic conscience. But I wish to kill a man. Yes, I actually wish it. I will stop at nothing to do it. So Jessica, Thufir, even the Duke all knew that his wife was taken by the Harkonnens, and they all knew that Yueh hated the Harkonnens, but they didn't think that he was going to betray the Atreides for his wife and for revenge of any kind. This is just such a flaw in understanding humanity in this book, and it's kind of brilliant on Frank Herbert too, that the very thing that defeated the entire house was their reliance on machine-ness of human beings and thinking that he would never break his imperial programming. This is insane. And it's so depressing too. And I'm just so bummed that the Duke is dead now in the books, or he's not really dead yet, but he's gonna die. Because he was one of my favorite characters. I knew we were marching toward that, but it's just depressing to see it in the text anyway. But anyway, that's all I got for you. Just those two little remarks on the Duke's assassination attempt and Yueh's betrayal. 1,000 deaths wouldn't suffice for him. Heck, 1,000,000 deaths wouldn't suffice for him. But subscribe for more of my first time thoughts as I'm reading through Dune for the first time. You can like the video too. You can become a member to support the channel. And as always, remember, do not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is a little death that brings total obliteration. I'll see you in the next one.